Hello, welcome. How are you? How is everyone doing? And how was the day? How was the day at markets? Did someone manage to catch Tata Motors or any of the Tata companies? Right, they have been on a stellar ride, and to be honest, I don't have any of the Tata companies in my portfolio. It's not necessary to be in every party. Remember that you have to take part in the parties that probably that would work for you. You don't have to participate in every party in the market. There's always going to be some pockets which will keep running higher and higher. If you really want to catch them, wait for a consolidation and then add them, right? But and if you miss them, then you just miss them, right? You can't really do anything. Focus on generating consistent returns and steady returns. That's what you need. You don't need really to have a stock giving you 50% returns. You really can't find such stocks every now and then. It's just impossible. All you can do is try to get a stock which keeps moving higher, and suddenly if the stock goes up 50-60%, then it's your luck. But all you can do is follow the process, and there's been a lot of talk about Tata Motors, Tata Powers. Then and if you did see, I already a couple of people who have said that they hold very good, like Arun and Vijay are saying that they do hold Tata Power, and even Arun holds Tata Motors very good. But also go check what is the allocation to your portfolio, right? If you have a very good allocation, like at least if you're investing probably at least 5%, then it makes some sense. But if you're going to have just a few shares just for the sake of it, then that's not really going to work. So this is a FOMO market. A lot of people have missed many stocks. It doesn't matter unless you invested in some stocks and you get steady returns. It's totally fine, right? So this is a phase that everyone will get through. But don't go and buy these stocks at this point. Wait for a consolidation, because tomorrow, let's say if Tata Motors or Tata Power gaps down 5 to 6%, then you're going to get stuck and you're going to really bleed money, right? So don't want that happen. Always look for breakouts and breakouts, trendline reversals. These are the best stocks from a risk reward perspective. Now someone who entered here, right, 412 would have kept a stop loss of 334. Now that's a 80 rupees stop, right? 20% stop, and they would probably made 20% returns. But if someone had entered here, right, 314 and 219, so that's just a 15 or 20 rupees stop. That's 8% stop. With 8% stop, even if you make 16%, is much better than keeping a 20% stop and making 20% return. So you don't have to always participate in every rally. Every party is not your party. It's fine to miss some things. So yeah, just stay invested. Try to follow your rules, and you would make money in the long run. Okay, fine. So let's look at the markets today, right? So let's start with Nifty as usual. So Nifty did gap up today. It had a very strong gap up, and it is going higher and higher. But the trend is clearly strong, right? So I did. If you did see my newsletter last week, I did post about this trendline parallel channel, which is a main important support, right? Now initially I did connect that point, but I then saw that this is probably a channel that will hold. And if you see, we've had the first there, second, third, fourth, and probably now we're going to we might face some resistance. So if you see here also, we had resistance on the channel. We went sideways, tested the channel, went higher, again faced resistance, tested the channel, went higher. So once we break out this, then we're heading to the higher end, right? So I think probably we're broken out now. I think probably we should head higher from here. And but only the early candles, last two early candles, a little bit of worry there. So in case we kind of go below a certain level, then you might want to cut your long short, right? But this is the level that I'd watch out for, and the higher low still intact. So the plan is still to go long. Tomorrow, let's say if you gap up above this level, or even if you open this mild gap up, then also you can go long with the stop at 15150, right? So that should be the plan for tomorrow, in case you want to have a plan. But if you kind of break this, then probably we are heading lower. I'm not sure how lower we go, but we are probably heading lower, and that could be the reason here for that could be this resistance on the middle of the channel, right? If you see here, we've had many cases like that. So every time the stock heads to the middle of the channel, then probably we are going to see some pull back, and then probably it might head higher again. But right now every stock is rallying. I think we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of In fact, this entire week, except a single day, we've seen continuous rallies, right, since the doji down. Now, if you're really a positional trader, then there's nothing to worry. But if you're a short-term trader, obviously you need to be a little careful, because we can see markets, depending on the levels I mentioned. If we dip, then probably going to see a little bit of correction. Still, the market's on a long-term uptrend, so don't take this as a word of caution. But if you're a short-term trader, obviously you need to take care of your positions, right? But if you're a positional trader, there's nothing to worry. We are not going to touch a portfolio until a stop loss hits, and you're also not going to touch a portfolio until your stop loss hits, for investments and positionals. For swing trading or for short-term trading, you need to look at what's Nifty doing in the short term, but otherwise you don't have to worry at all. Just hold on to stop loss, keep trading, and it will do well. Okay, so yeah, that's about Nifty. Now let's switch to, sorry, I didn't mention levels. Yeah, so that's, if you see, the levels are very clear, right? So we have this horizontal setup there. We've had a reversal today, just at the fag end of the session. But if we have a close below this on a 5 minute candle, 5 minutes candle, then probably we're heading lower, right? But that it depends on how lower the market can go. It's up to you. But the long is tomorrow. I'd probably go long if there is, if we don't open below this level. I'd probably go long right at that point, with target for higher levels. Probably today's high should be crossed. If we go below that, then you can go probably short. Okay, so that's the plan. It's straightforward. There's nothing much to look at that, right? So let's look at our portfolio. So our portfolio did do really well today, backed by Craftsman, right? So we're up 20%. Now we've had 3 stocks, which are more than 20% returns. Just another is pending, and that shows, momentum in play. Now, markets, a lot of people can bring a lot of theories that, for example, Tata Motors, right? A lot of people can bring theory that that's the reason, this is the reason. But finally, it's demand supply. If the demand is higher than supply, then it's going to go high. If the demand is, lesser than supply, then, or if supply is more than demand, then it's going to probably head lower, right? So these reasons are pretty simple. You don't have to go and, participate in every stock. You don't have to. All you need to know is level, support, resistances, and it can take care. You might get some good trades. Sometimes you might not really get good trades, but it doesn't. You don't have to always, hit every ball for a 6. All you need to do is, look for a right setup and go long. Like we had Venkys, we had Indigo. We had so many different setups, right? So Venkys had a very good close. And if you did invest in Venkys, do let me know. But the setup was pretty simple, right? So I did look for setup from there. So that was a trend line from there. And, it was a perfect symmetrical triangle setup, right? And all you need to do is just go long, right? So you had to buy this and you make money, right? I did also invest. I'm not someone who gives just advices. I do invest. I do make money. So it's up to you how you want to trade. But yeah, you don't have to, go for every other stock in the market. Stay invested in a few stocks like how we do. Like, this is a perfect example, right? You still make money if you follow certain stuff rules. And momentum, if it's on a side, try to look for stocks which are previously in good momentum, enter them, and they would give you good returns, right? For example, we entered Lakshmi Organics on 280 because it was in a decent uptrend. It was showing momentum, so we did enter around 280 around there, and we added more, and then we are up till now. Tata Elxsi, again, we entered pretty late, right? Tata Elxsi was already up a lot, and if you see here, we entered on 4436, right? So 4436 is somewhere there, right? Somewhere there is when we entered. Now, if you see, it has already been up so much, right? But still, we entered and made some money because the momentum has been there in the stock, and if it goes up, the momentum will still be strong. So all you need to find is stocks which have moved up really strong, right? Now, Nautilus had moved up really strong, and all it did was it is time-wise correction, right? Now again, we entered here, right? Now again, it has moved up. All you need to do is just follow the same setups again and again and again and again. You need to just keep repeating the same thing. You will, over a period of time, it will hardly take you, to review this entire stock list. It hardly takes me 5 minutes. It doesn't take more time than that. And then again, Craftsman, again, it had a strong momentum before, right? And that momentum continues now. Now, probably that's, you can call it, rejection from the channel. But remember what happened to Lakshmi Chem. Lakshmi Chem also had a similar kind of rejection, and not a perfect rejection, but we did have a rejection, and then we went sideways, right? So if you look at Lakshmi Chem, we had this channel here. I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, this one. Right, and if you draw this, we kind of had the rejection there, and we went sideways, and then we kind of broke out. So everything can happen in market. So just because you see now a rejection of the channel, doesn't mean you go and exit the stock. Keep a trailing stop loss and let the market tell you that's a rejection from a channel. right? So for now, I don't see any problem in any of these stocks. I've revised my stop loss in Craftsman. Previously we had it around 2049. Now I revised my stop loss. This is red candle, which is 2170, right? So 2170 is my new stop loss, and so now we are sitting on a decent 1.7 hour trade. If a stop loss hits, we still make 1.7 times the risk that we had taken. And the only trade that is in negative is in Anurus, and Anurus also the moves would come shortly. Okay, otherwise overall, remember, we are up almost 25%. We crossed 25% today and we came down back. So quarter century, if you have been playing with me, exactly replicating your portfolio, you'd be up 25%. Now this is just a 1 lakh model portfolio, but if you had put probably 5 lakhs, you would already be up 1 lakh, right? In fact, yeah, more than probably 1 lakh. So you can still follow my risk management plan. You can still go ahead and try to replicate portfolio, but the point here is, even if a stop set today, we'd be up 17% since the starting of July. It's exactly 3 months since we started, and we are locking in returns of 17%. Right now, this is obviously a bull market, so you might not get such returns always, but you should be thankful to your processes that you follow. You should be thankful to your discipline that you have, that you make such kind of returns, in case you're following me. Okay, so we hit a new equity high. So as of yesterday, we were 22,816, and today we're closing at 24,381. So we hit a new equity high, and yeah, if you've been following me, congratulations to you as well. But otherwise, there are some stocks which I want to discuss about, especially ITC. I've been posting about ITC since some time back. I did take option trade today as well, and it did give me really good returns. But yeah, that's some time for sometime other discussion. But here, if you see, there's a beautiful long-term channel breakout. Right, so we had 2 weeks of consolidation, and again we broke out. Now this is a perfect setup to go long, because your stop loss is just at 230, right? So if you see this weekly swing loss 230, so all you have to do is keep a stop at 230. That's just a 20 rupee stop, and you're going to probably look for targets of, if you're investing, probably targets of 600, which is the upper end of the channel. Now if you did already look at my views on Twitter, then probably you would know why I am talking about targets of 600, because of this channel here. And if you just kind of drag this there, you'll notice that's a channel, right? So we've had perfect touch points there. There's a spike there, but I'm probably looking here for targets of 600 in the next few years, 650 probably, and it can head even higher, right? So just because it touches there doesn't mean it can't go sideways and head higher. So ITC does look fantastic from a risk reward perspective. So go ahead. Could be a very good trade, very good investment, in case you want to make, right? Also, you can go sit mode if you want, but do remember, we spoke about many such setups in our newsletters, right? For example, I'm just going to show you this setup here on VIP, right? So VIP also is in a channel, and I covered the stock somewhere around 400 levels. I'm not sure exact levels, but yeah, this also is probably heading towards levels of to the upper channel, right? So I don't know how much targets. 5,000 seems to be really high, but yeah, but I can show you some examples. Like for example, Tata Motors also is heading to upper channel, right? So long-term growth stories tend to go in upper channel. So for example, if you see, if you're invested here, if someone had told you it was 66, someone had told you, it's heading to the upper end of the channel around 600, 1,000, no one would believe that, because that just your mind can't really interpret such kind of returns. But if you just follow simple technical tools, you will know that over a period of many years, the stock can head higher, right? It might go up and consolidate. It might, for example, from here this point, when you're looking for targets of 176. 176 came almost 5 years later, right? So when it was around 11, but at that time the channel was not complete, so you didn't really have an idea. But there are many such stocks which are looking good. Now I'll show you a perfect example of a channel which happened in Neuland, right? So Neuland had a very good channel support, and then it went all the way high, right? So it went there and got rejected. I think Hickel also had a similar kind of setup, not perfect channels, but Hickel also, if you see, it had a similar channel, right? So it got rejected right from the channel. Now when it's in the lower end of channel, you really can't fathom the returns. It's very difficult to understand. But if you just if you're investing, probably just put 5% of your portfolio and just leave it and let the market take care of how much returns it can give you. And you can follow stop loss on the weekly swing lows, okay, instead of daily swing lows. Okay, I just wanted to give some insights on that. But there are a few setups that I feel can do well in the coming days. Is ITC, obviously, because everyone is talking about ITC. So I think if I don't talk, people will be probably wondering why I'm not talking. Right. Next one is Indus Bank. Right. Indus Bank, again, we spoke about this. We spoke about that downtrend channel. Now remember, ITC also had a similar one and broke out, right? And here we're already breaking out. All you need to do is keep a buy stop over 1195 or 1200 with a stop around today's low 1175. You can get probably decent intraday returns as well, but that's forming a nice pattern there, and I think it can do well. So Motilal Oswal, I think we've spoken to multiple times. It's moving slowly but steadily. Venkys is doing well. Power Grid, right? So Power Grid has again given a fresh breakout, and I think this also is probably headed towards 220, and if you break above that, then probably we're heading much higher. NMDC, the metal space again seems to be reviving. So some metal stocks did move, not a great moves, but decent moves today. But I think if you see again today's high crossing any metal stocks, then probably that's a sign to go long, because the lower high, so this is lower high, lower low structure. Now that's broken, and probably it's again forming higher high, higher low. Okay. Otherwise, VIP looks again good. So VIP is moving really well. Since our recommendation, Network18 is just having a down day after the circuit yesterday. It's pretty common. And also, if you notice here, we have a major resistance, right? So that's why if you watch my video, I gave my first target at 70 levels. So we do have some resistance around that zone. It might take a few weeks, probably a couple of weeks, probably, you never know. But if it does come back towards 62 levels, then probably it's time to add more for investment purposes. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not going to go into all setups. Jubilant Industries, yeah, give a good move. And there are many other stocks, right? I can talk about many stocks, but coffee stocks also look good. Remember, I talked about this in the Sunday video, and we're already moving well here, right? Probably CCL will catch up. CCL is just about to break out. It had a good closing today above that channel resistance, rectangle resistance. But yeah, let's see how it behaves. So let's look at the questions for today. Okay, and then we can close the session after your questions. So yeah, I'll not say hello to everyone. Let's say common hello. Vijay says he sees a gap at 435 for Tata Motors. Hope it gets filled. Probably, since it was one of the high volume days, it's quite possible that anything can happen. But yeah, if you want to wait, if you want to invest, then probably wait for a small consolidation before you go ahead again, right? Okay. Arun, Tata Investments, you missed. It's totally fine, no problem. Amarjit, Hindustan Singh has finally, I think, broken out, has given a breaker today. It looks good, and I think it can head higher, right? So I'll just remove all the channel lines, right? So I think it's looking good. That's a perfect trend line. It just came almost close to the trend line and it reversed, right? So yeah, tomorrow again, as I said, today's high is very important for many other stocks, and here again, we formed a lower high here, and again we're crossing. So probably that could have been a good entry point, or even above today's high could be a good entry point, just to make it even much clearer that we have a good high. So it does look good. Volumes are good. I think zinc prices are moving. Zinc prices, if you look at the futures, we've had a new high, right? So yes, zinc, copper also had a very good move. So you can look at the charts. Copper has finally made a fresh breakout there. So this is what is a perfect pivot point, right? So you had double bottom there and you had a breakout there. So now I'm sure many of you will ask about Hind Copper. I'm just taking a look at it. Again, there's a nice resistance. So any gap up, I think you'll have a gap up probably of 130, but I think you can probably go long now with a stop around 108. Now the primary reason I'm telling you can go long is because of the trendline breakout there. Right now, that's not a perfect trendline breakout there, but yeah, so probably above this high 133 is when you can go long in Hindustan Copper, or go long now with the stop at a swing low. Okay, yeah, there are many setups you can look for it. I'm not going to get into them, but Hindustan Zinc does look Amarjit. Jagdeep, I didn't get a question. What do you mean by what value can we hold? I don't get your question, but Sport King, yeah, I know it's a liquid stock, but I don't really hold such stocks. It's just not worth the risk, because it can go on low circuits for many days. And if you're making money, well and good. Again, it has been a multi-bagger. It's gone up really well. Your stop loss can be 968, which is pretty deep, right? Or if even around 1000. So that's a problem, right? You have a 60% stop loss, which is just not my kind of view. Stormcatch, yes. Let's look at Union Bank. Yeah, Union Bank had a breakout. Here we had a perfect trendline reversal on a breakout. I think little late entry if you're entering right now, but probably a good entry to have been on this day. But yeah, it still can head higher. I think the entire banking space looks fantastic, but there's a nice symmetrical triangle breakout there. Okay, you can enter even now, with a stop around, if you want to, stop on 34. Stop loss is pretty deep, or even 36 could be a good stop, which is still 20% stop loss. Okay, Root Mobile also looks fantastic. I think it has made a fresh high. It's just consolidating around there. Again, in this case also, there was a nice trend line reversal, right? So it's a perfect trend line reversal there. Not a perfect, but yeah, it's kind of trend line reversal. And then, yeah, we are making a fresh high. It looks good also. Again, I would not add right now. Probably you should have added around 2070 with a stop around 1930. Okay, but still the stop loss is 1930. Okay, Kumulagiri entered Principal 740. Is the breakout failed? I think I spoke about a breakout failing or not failing, right? So unless the stock goes below its previous swing low, I don't see it as a breakout failure, right? It's still probably close to the trend line reversal there. Yeah, but don't think just because the stock moved up and again come down, don't think it's a breakout failure. Give it some time, right? You don't have to rush. Give it some time. It might consolidate and then move higher. Also, one of the reasons why you could be feeling that it's a breakout failure is because of FOMO, because you missed the stock all this while you're trying to enter now and you feel like it's made a top. That's not how you look at stocks. Keep a swing low at 660. If it goes below that, then you can call it as a breakout failure. But unless it doesn't go, it can still go sideways. Okay. And do tell about Sri Bajrang. It's going down, bottom 247. Till how much rate should you be invested? I don't know which stock is this. Sri Bajrang. I don't even know these stocks. Yeah, I'm not sure about the name. Maybe if you can give me the name, Jagdeep, then I can probably look at it. I don't find the stock seriously. So just give me this code and I can look at it probably. HUL is a fantastic entry, Abhilash. You can enter HUL. Again, it depends on what kind of trade you're doing, but the stop should be yesterday's low. So you can enter stop loss is 2620 or 2600 as well. You can keep both as a stop loss, but if entering for positional, then keep a stop loss around 2316, right? Because there's still a chance it can come down. Short-term trade stop loss 2625 or 2620. Positional trade stop loss around 2320. Okay. Indus Bank, I think I spoke about this just now. IndusInd Bank. Again, looks good. You can enter right now with a stop around 1084. Okay, 1085 or 1080. Just round it off. Both look, they are good risk reward setups. Okay. Anisha says mantra of today. Yes, every party is not your party. Arun, Sona Bailiff seems a good setup. Gave a great breakout today. Learned that financial is very good. I think it will be a good investment. I'm not sure really, Arun. But yeah, Sonacoms is a fantastic company. The breakout has happened probably today, but it can still head higher, right? But the ideal entry point should have been here or here, right? You should be able to identify such stocks. If you're really interested in owning a stock, try to own the stock at much lower levels, right? Or at a level where the risk reward is very favorable. At this point, the risk reward is really not favorable. Probably if you keep a stop loss here, it's okay, but the probability of it coming back and testing the channel is much higher. At this point, the probability of it coming back, going down is much lower, right? And if you make money, also you're making more money. So think always from a risk reward perspective. Think always from a low risk setup, and probably you'll start making money. And you might think that you'll get a real edge in the markets. That's more important. Tejas, good, enter on Venkys. Naresh, yes, you don't need to go all parties. It's not really, it's a very common term in markets, right? I think even Rakesh Jindal mentioned this recently in one of the interviews. Amarjit, yes, Rupa company. Yeah, I think setup looks good. So this is a good setup, right? Because it's just breaking out from the previous high. It did close yesterday above that, and here the stop loss is 440. A decent setup, still a 12% stop loss, but a decent setup, right? Also, I think it's kind of a trend line reversal there. Like if you just connect those dots and then try to extend this and see, that's a perfect trend line reversal. Now this is what I call as a good setup. Now here entering here is even a better setup, but this is also a good setup, right? You can go ahead. Okay, also view on Rupa. Amarjit, yes, that's the view. Naresh, yes, Mindtree. I think excellent results from some companies. I think Infi had excellent results, if not for Wipro. Yes, Mindtree does look good. Stop loss is pretty clear here, around 4,100. You can keep a stop loss on 4,150 or 4,100 and go long. You might get a good trade. Okay, just my view. Prashant, small cap and mid caps are doing really well. I don't see any problem whatsoever. In fact, the small cap is still, yet to break that one last final point which I'm looking at, but mid cap has already broken it. So I don't see any reasons for correction, and mid cap is having a fantastic run. It did break out from there, and it is really going, higher. It's going literally to the moon. Small cap is facing some trouble, but mid cap is going to the moon probably. PSU banks, Mohammed, look fantastic. Canara Bank, Indian Bank, all look fantastic. I think I already shared my view on Canara Bank yesterday. Right? It did have a ascending triangle breakout over there, and it does look really good. Okay, so stop can continue to be 172 for Canara Bank. Indian Bank also has broken out, right? So I thought it's going to form that, but it did not form, and it is breaking out much ahead of that, right? So again, pretty good trades in the PSU bank. If you have the patience, then they can reward really well. So most of the PSU banks might also double from here, okay? But you need to give it some time. You can't just expect it in a few months. Probably some might take a few years as well, right? But always keep stop loss. Bell also looks fantastic, right? It's just about to break out, from the long bearish trend line. I think once it breaks out, then it's going to see some really good momentum. I think again, this is from the PSU space, and the entire PSU space is doing well. Now, right now, it has had a very strong move from 58 all the way up. It might face some resistance. You see a week on today, but yeah, just give it some time probably, and then enter again if you want. Okay, graphite action construction. Let's look at that. Graphite is just going really tight right now. This is an excellent pivot setup, a very low risk reward setup. All you need to do is keep a buy stop above 630, right? So that high there, 630 should where your GTD should be set, right? And keep a stop around 585, right? So it's a 45-point stop or a 8% stop loss. And if it goes, it's going to really jump very fast. So it can be a really good setup. Also, if you see the weekly chart, you see those demand right now. Last 2 weeks has been doji, and I think this can really explode. It is just a few more days away from explosion. Okay, expansion. Now that expansion can be also be the downside. That's why I said buy only above 630, keep a GTD above 630, and a stop around 585. Okay, action construction or ACE. Let's look at it. Again, a nice setup. This trend line has been really a good support for the stock, and on the weekly charts, I think it's trying to break out from that consolidation there, right? So it's just facing some resistance around that zone, but I think the setup still looks fantastic. The stop loss can be around 190 levels, right? Or if you're going to buy about 285 and keep a stop around 240, both can work. But again, this is close to a trend line. Probably it can also move higher, right? Or low risk setup. In case you buy about 270 to 80, then keep a stop at 240 also. You can do that as well. Okay. Sandeep, I think I've told this again many times. We never book profits. We always trail our stop loss. So find a method you can trail your stop loss. I've already go to a pin tweet. There is a sheet, and that sheet, go to strategies. You will find a link called all-in-one chart. Go to that chart and see how I trail my stop. And we also discussed this multiple times. So please refer to that. Anurag, Marico. I think Marico is just close to all-time high. It can give a good breakout. It's not a cup and handle, but probably a base on base pattern, right? So base on base is nothing but this, and then you have another base. So this can give a good move. All it needs to do is cross that highs there, right? A stop loss in this case is around 540 odd. Okay, but yeah, it does look good. It can probably move well. The entire FMG space is also looking good. Okay, so it can do well going forward. Okay, Affle, Rafik. Let's look at Affle. Right, Affle again is facing resistance around that point, all-time high. So probably it might consolidate for a few more days before it heads higher. Again, Affle is one of the best stocks in the in this space. I think just give it a few more days. I think it can break out and head higher. But also, this is a stock which did a decent correction. So I think this is just a wave, probably a small correction in this larger trend. I think we can again move higher, right? You see the same thing which happened here, and then we broke out. The same thing can happen here. You can probably enter at the current price. The stop loss is pretty deep, around 930 is your stop. Okay. JSW and VTL I think we discussed yesterday. VTL looks fantastic. We did discuss about that breakout there. It's just retest. You can buy still. It can head higher. JSW Energy, yeah, it's just going sideways. So probably it might break out tomorrow. Right? It's already broken out today. It's closed upper secured. So it can head higher, but this has a fantastic run till now. If it moves higher, then you can probably move your stop loss to 370 if you're a positional trader. Okay. What do we do with stocks like Praj, which is consolidating either stop loss not dies? That's a good question. So you can keep a time stop, right? So in case you're holding some stocks for a lot of time, it depends whether you are invested or you want to do positional trading. If you're positional trading, after a couple of months, probably exit, right? So if I were a positional trader, I'd have exited the stock, probably at this point, somewhere there or somewhere there. Right? I'd probably exited there also, right? But if you're an investor, then probably you got to keep holding it, right? So that's what I say. You have to define the time frame you're investing, whether you're investor, short-term trader, or whatever. Now remember, the same way Tata Motors went sideways, right, for many weeks before a breakout. If you see here, it went from sideways from Feb to almost to September. Now same thing can happen in Pledge. Now you have to decide whether you want to be that person who's just holding on to that stock, or you want to are you the person who wants to move on to the next trade and forget this trade, or if you want this trade, enter it later again. Right? There are multiple ways of handling your portfolio. You need to decide what time frame are you trading on, whether you're positional, this one. So in the traded Trendline Investor portfolio, we are more of positional traders, right? So if you see my stop losses get closer and closer for Lakshmi Chem, because I want the stock to kick me out, I want the stock to perform. If they perform or get out, it's simple as that, right? So that's why we moved our stop loss very close, right? Every time it makes a new high, we keep trading a stop loss. And you want to do that same thing for even Praj, maybe. It's up to you. If you still don't get us a problem, then just ping me on Twitter. I can, probably help you also. Rohit, BBQ and Page. Let's look at it. I'm sorry, that's not BBQ. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, again, fantastic setup. It's just going, higher and higher. I think it can head higher again. Keep a stop around 1070 odd. And Page, I think it's just consolidating after an excellent breakout. I think it's just we had this nice breakout there. It's going sideways, probably might head higher as well. Again, the stops is always swing lower. 31,500 is for Page. Okay, what is pocket pivot, Naresh? Probably just, we'll discuss this at some point. Pocket pivots are points where you have very low risk setups. And if you really want to understand pocket pivots, you can refer to Mark Miner in your books. They can help you, or just Google you. That also might help. Tata Motors still a buy? No, not according to me. I'll probably wait for a consolidation then buy. Anurag, I don't use EMAs, SMAs. It doesn't matter. Every indicator has a probability of failure. Just go ahead with whatever you feel like. It doesn't matter what indicator you're using. What matters is how are you using that indicator and how are you executing your trades. Okay. Vasant, Jubilant Ingrevia and Prestige. Yes. I think I spoke about this again. It is just going to break out. Explosive move is coming. Probably just hold on. Just sit on tight. Again, move your stop loss as close as possible. 750 could be a stop. And it's just going to give explosive move. I'm just waiting for that day. I think a lot of people have been waiting for that day. And this is going sideways. Okay, so some patience, I think, might reward if we can, wait in this one. Prestige, real estate stock, I think it's just, this is a problem with real estate stocks. You have big moves up, big moves down. So here again, the stop loss I'll keep is 390. And if it comes towards 390, probably it's a very good time to add. Or it's probably forming a cup and handle also. Whatever it is, I think if you want to add more, add above 500. Then you can trail your stop loss to 450. Or if you want, if it comes down, then you can add even towards 390 with stop loss at 390 also. So if it goes below 390, then you have to exit the stock. Whirlpool. Okay, we are exceeding our time already. Yeah, Whirlpool has been just going sideways, I think, since Jan. It needs to break out, but it's picking up momentum. It has, given a short breakout there. It might take some more time. It might face some resistance there, but I think it has momentum. It can head higher. Trailer stop loss to 2200. Yeah. Okay. Dabur on lower channel line. Let's look at it. Yes, Dabur is on lower channel line, right? So if you see, I did draw that, right? So it is reversing nicely. It can head higher as well. It's a good buy on dips with a stop around 604 or 600. Fortis. I think Fortis is just going sideways. It's just again a matter of time before it moves high. If you want to add, you can add about 282 with a stop around 255, or you can add even now with a stop around 255. If the higher low still intact, it's just consolidating. Probably it's just consolidating around the trend line. It might reverse. It might probably touch this trend line and then reverse. It might take a few more days probably. Okay. Matesh, nice to see you after a long time. Future retail, I'm not really sure. It has made a double bottom. I know this might be a new term for you, Matesh, but yeah, I will not be invested in this stock. It has no momentum. It has no moves whatsoever. But you can hold if you're in losses, and if you have a lot of money invested in this, probably want to hold. It's up to you. But it needs to cross above 68. Once it crosses 68, which is probably a descending triangle setup, then it can head really high. So 68, if it crosses, then we can probably see levels of 100 quickly. And also the long-term charts, the problem is it has fallen so much that every rise would be sold into. Right now, there is a massive supply. A lot of people are stuck at many levels in the stock. Right now, this is a major level that many people are stuck. So if it crosses 65, then we can see levels of 90, but it needs to cross 65. I think that it might face some resistance there. Okay, so also if a stock keeps falling so much, you shouldn't be holding on to such stocks. Okay. Yes, Pratik, Avenue or DMart is a hold. For me, DMart is a long-term stock, long-term trending stock. On the weekly time frame, just keep your stop losses here. If you're holding, then 2600 is a stop loss on the weekly time frame. But if you're a positional trader, also it's a very good setup. It can head higher. It has broken from this parallel channel setup, right? And it is heading higher. Now the pace is really picking up. It might consolidate a few more days, and it can, even spike higher. But if you're going to add fresh position, then I'd not recommend. But still, you can go ahead if you want. Stop loss is 4200. Okay, this one for positional. For weekly investment perspective, I told you the stop losses already. Okay, Pratik, I've covered Affle. I just probably play it back and you can check. DMart I just covered. Last one stock from Jake. Your take on Manali Petrochemicals. Okay. I don't see really a trend line here, Jake. But yeah, let's look at this one probably. That's probably a trend line that you want to look at, right? So it is in a channel and it's just facing resistance around the trend line. So it can head higher or it can consolidate and come here, right? Again, a very beautiful stock, long-term setup. It can go high probably towards levels of 180. But yeah, keep a stop loss as always. And I hope you understood how I do that. Just connected the bottom to that point over there and that point over there, right? If you see also the middle channel makes total sense because every time it came reverse and then it had a time correction. It came all the way towards the trend line, again went higher, came reverse from middle, again time correction towards the trend line, and it's heading. So that channel makes total sense. So that's the view on Manali. I hope you can draw it also. Okay. Yeah. So otherwise, I think we're done. Thanks. We've had a lot of people joining off late, 36 people. Really thank you for joining at this point in the time. If you're new, I know many of you are new to my channel, especially a few of my friends who are here. If you really want to learn positional trading or trading in stocks, just stick here for next 3 months and you'll learn. There are a lot of examples of friends who are here who have really learned. I don't want to take names, but they've learned on their own, just watching my videos every day. Okay. So you can, if you have losses, you can try to recover those losses, but you need to, focus on proper setups and you have discipline to execute those trades. You can probably make money. So I'll leave here. I'll leave you here. Don't forget to like the video and don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. I'll see you tomorrow again. Trade safe and keep your risk always in place. Okay. Thank you.